Hi everyone, and welcome to our screencast on end-of-unit reflections. Okay, we're going to go over two basic things. First, what's the point of doing this? Okay, why do we have a learning goal that involves reflection? And then second, how do we actually set up our wiki site with our reflections on it? Okay, so one is kind of the theory and the reason why we do this, and then second is how do we logistically pull this off? Okay, so we're going to start with the reason why. Okay, so if you we'll take a quick look at the objectives grid for this unit. If you'll notice that the fourth learning goal, okay, which I believe is probably the most important one, is to reflect critically on learning experiences and processes. Okay, so that's the goal. What's the performance objective? How do we do that? Well, you're going to develop a plan before approaching a learning task, which you've already done, monitor understanding, and evaluate the thinking after completing a task. Okay, we've already done this twice so far. Once through the daily learning journals, which I've actually collected and assessed two separate occasions. And now we're going to do our first unit reflection and goal setting for our next unit on our class wiki. Okay, so this is a way that you can both reflect on how you learned, okay, what were some of the strategies that you used, some of the things that were challenging, and also to set a goal and set up a plan for how you're going to learn better in the next unit. Okay, so that's why we're doing it. So let's take a look at how we're going to set up our page. I already created a couple screencasts on how to set up your site, how to start a page, so if you need to review that, go back and watch those screencasts. But for this screencast, I'm just going to show you how to actually set up the reflection page once you're in. Okay, so everyone should have a Unit 1 page. So if you go to your Unit 1 page, you're going to set it up like this. Okay, so you're going to start with the title, Unit 1, Ancient Greece and Rome. Then you're going to insert your project file. Okay, it's going to go here. Now, just as a reminder on how to do that, you would click Edit, then click File, and then you would locate wherever you saved your PowerPoint or Prezi or whatever you used to create the presentation. You would upload it and then double-click and insert it onto the page. Once you insert your project here, you're going to do a brief description of what your project was. So, for instance, what was the learning task or the objective, and what, just a brief overview. What is your project? What is it about? What are you trying to get across? Okay, after that, you're going to do a learning self-assessment. Now, for all of this, you can actually just copy and paste this right onto your page if you'd like. I'll provide the link to this page, and then you would just fill it in from there. Or if you wanted to start from scratch, you could just type this out as you go. Okay, so the self-assessment is really just to take a step back and think about how well did you do this quarter, what did you learn, and how effective did you learn. So the first thing you're going to do is, of the number of objectives for this unit, and there were 12. Okay, so you're going to put 12 in there. I demonstrate proficiency in this many. Okay, so the only one that I haven't actually assessed yet is your project, because a lot of you are still handing that in. But for the other objectives, you've gone through them all, looked through your objectives grid, see what you've scored on. One question students were asked is, what does proficiency mean? Okay, that's a great question. For our purposes, anything that you scored a 75% or higher on. So for instance, if it was a 40-point objective, for instance, the content-based objectives, if you got at least a 30 out of 40 on those, that would be considered proficient. So just tally up how many that of the 12 that you demonstrate proficiency in. The next thing is challenges. Okay, what do you think were the most challenging aspects of this unit? You can do this a couple different ways. You can do the format of the class or the content itself. Okay, so were there any particular objectives that gave you trouble? Were the screencast quizzes hard? Were the in-class primary source activities hard? Was the project difficult? Was it difficult to view these videos outside of class time? Those are all things that you can write down for challenges. Underneath for successes, what did you do well in? Okay, did you really do well in the screencast quizzes? Did you do well in the in-class assignments, on the collaborative activities, on the inquiry-based projects? What was your success? What did you excel in? Okay, and maybe just a couple bullet points for each one of those would be sufficient for this. And then finally, my goals. You're going to set goals for the next unit. Okay, you're going to set at least two, one relatively short-term goal and one long-term goal. For instance, a short-term goal would be, on my daily learning journals, I want to complete all of them and get at least a 90% on the assessment. Long-term goal could be, I want to raise my average to a 90 or 95% by the end of the quarter. Okay, or it doesn't have to necessarily be related to grades. It can be another goal, but just make sure that it's academic. And then what strategy you're going to use to achieve these goals. So for instance, if you want to do better on the unit test or on the project, what are you going to do to get better at it? Okay, what is something that you will change between now and then to help improve your performance in this class? Okay, once you're done with that, you'll click save. Let me know that you're finished with it. Maybe just send a link with the URL to that page, and I'll go over it and make sure that we're on the same page with this. All right, as always, if you have any questions, please let me know in class or online through our LMS. Have a great day.